In today's video, we're talking about email list building. What's up, fam? Welcome back to The Bookworm. Make sure before we get started, you guys hit like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications for more videos like this. Also, I included my ultimate startup checklist. If you're thinking about starting a business or you're early into growing your business, which you probably are if you're watching a video about an email list, you're going to want that. So make sure you grab my ultimate startup checklist. It gives you everything you need to be doing and making sure you are checking that list off and not missing anything along the way. All right, let's go and jump into it. Email list building is probably one of the more important things you can do. And more importantly, most of the people that I've talked to that have grown any business, whether it's on or offline, will say, oh my gosh, I wish I had started growing my email list sooner. I made the same mistake myself. The problem is that we get so infatuated with this idea of having a big following, right? Whether it's Instagram and Facebook or YouTube or whatever platform we're focused on, we focus on numbers and getting this huge count. And it's publicly facing. So I think it's a little bit embarrassing when we don't have a large following because we're giving advice, but we have 5 followers. So we just kind of invalidate our own message in our minds. Whereas the email list, nobody sees it, so it's private, so we're the only ones that really know. But I'm telling you, the money is in the email list. There's a variety of reasons why that is. I would encourage you to go watch some of my other videos. I'm going to link one above my head right now so you kind of understand a little bit more about what that entails. But let's go and talk about what some basic strategies look like that can get you on and running with your email list building efforts. So the first thing we want to do is we want to figure out, okay, what's something that people want, right? What's something that people want that would be a seamless first step into doing business with you. Now, this should be something that people would be willing to pay money for. Doesn't mean you're going to charge them for it. Just means they would be willing to pay for it because it's that valuable. So this can be in the form of a lead magnet, right? So a PDF. This could be a checklist like the one I just talked about, the checklist that I have. It could be some kind of a report. It could be an assessment. It could be I have a read list that I offer, a 2020 read list that people want to know what business books they should be reading. So it's something that is going to begin the indoctrination process, begin the process of warming them up to you into what it is that you specifically offer, but it needs to be something that's considered valuable to them and it has some utility in their life. The reason being is because too many people get online and they create a call to action on their website that says sign up for updates. They don't know you. Who needs more updates in their life, more notifications and more emails? There's no real incentive to actually do that. So you want to give them an incentive. You want to create an incentive, right? So you want to reverse engineer. Here's my offer. Here's what I'm thinking about selling, or here's what I already sell. Here's what we would really kind of warm people up with, right? So again, contingent upon your industry, that could be like an auto mechanic gives you a checklist of symptoms and what they could mean, right? Or noises and what they mean, or whatever, right? Like something that gives you some kind of value that when something happens or when you're ready to take the next steps, you're immediately thinking about that person, and or once they download it, you're taking them through a sales sequence, a series of emails that's actually going to sell them something at the end if you don't provide an offer immediately after the download, right? So that's that, right? We have got something we're going to give in exchange for value, and they're going to give us an email for it. You're going to send them to a landing page, which is sometimes called a squeeze page, where they will enter their email, and you've probably been through this process if you're not already familiar. They enter their email, and then boom, they receive an email that has whatever it is you're offering inside of that email, right? That's the most common way. Maybe you're already familiar with it. Maybe you've already done this, or maybe you've already gone through somebody else's process of doing that. Now, here's what I'd recommend you do that may be a little bit different than what you've heard. The problem is that some people, they create too many, right? So they have all these various lead magnets, not focused on one specifically. So you go to their website and it looks like NASCAR. There's just promoting different things all over the place. So whatever your lead magnet is, you want to perfect one funnel first, right? So if it's going to be a lead magnet with a squeeze page or a landing page, great, and that's what you're promoting, and you're going to try to promote it all over the web, all right? So you're going to try to talk about it when you go live on Instagram. That's what you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about the content that relates to that specific lead magnet. And at the end, what you're going to do is you're going to call to attention and provide the URL where people can go find and discover or download that lead magnet, right? And you can put it on in your bio. You can put the link there. They can go and you easily provide access to start that process, right? So if you've built an audience elsewhere, that's fantastic, but that's borrowed real estate. That's someone else owns that. If it's Instagram, then Instagram and Facebook own that specific audience. You don't own that. Your job is to take borrowed real estate and to make it owned real estate. Because there's so many things you can do. I won't get into it in this video. There's so many things you can do once it's owned real estate, meaning they're on your email list. Let's assume you don't have your own audience. Let's assume you do have 5 Instagram followers, or you do have 2 subscribers on YouTube, and so you're just speaking into the abyss. One of the best growth hacks, right, as they were, was to find someone else that you can collaborate with. So maybe what you do is you find someone else that teaches something similar, or you have somebody else that you build a relationship with online, that you do a summit with, right? You launch something together, or you do some kind of collaboration where you're providing value in a way that they can't. Maybe you come on as an expert for their audience and you teach something. Maybe you host some kind of class or a workshop for their people. And at the end, what you do is you provide that unique URL that leads to your specific landing page or squeeze page that, again, invites them to join your email list, right? That's a great way that I've seen it done. You could also do guesting. So if you want to pitch yourself to go on people's podcasts, like I do, I host a podcast. Most of my guests that come on, they have some kind of call to action at the end of what it is that they offer in terms of value, right? So they're going to teach my audience something. They're going to give them tremendous value. And at the end, they have an opportunity to say, hey, if you want to learn more about this, or you want to read my book, or you want to take my course, or you want to whatever, they provide that URL after the fact. The reason that's effective is because it helps you go from starting point A to wherever it is in terms of growth. You're using someone else's audience to get your messaging out there. So if you don't have a built-in audience, rather than just putting content out and hoping it gets discovered, you're going to leverage other people's audiences. That's the #1 growth hack. It's probably the only growth hack that I know that truly exists, and I've seen work relatively well. Now, that's probably one of the best ones. The next thing you can do is, if you do have, let's say, a moderate level audience, or you're trying to run something with paid advertisement, which, again, what we've talked about so far, these are organic strategies, so it doesn't require any money for you to do these things. Paid is a little bit different. So you can run a lead magnet. You can run that with paid advertisement on Facebook, for example, right? You can say, here's my 2020 read list, right? And you run it as a Facebook ad, and they go download it, and you, relatively speaking, you could probably get people for less than $1, which is fantastic, right? You're getting an email for less than $1. But if you're brand new and you don't really know how to run Facebook ads, maybe that's not where you want to start. But let's assume you are. Let's assume that you are familiar with running Facebook ads and you do want to go that route. Again, we could run the lead magnet. We could run the squeeze page. We could do all that. I've done it. I do it all the time. I'm doing it right now. You could also run a challenge. So let's say you're a personal trainer, and let's say you want to run a weight loss challenge. It's a 30-day weight loss challenge. Usually challenges are good between 2 weeks, 14 and 30 days. If you go over 30, it's too long. If you're under 14, it's a little bit too short, right? So you're going to run a challenge. They join with their email, right? They put in their email address, whatever. And what you want to do with that, we're not talking about challenges, but I'll give you a little pro tip here. With a challenge, you want to have something like a pop-up Facebook group where you're going live on video to walk them through that challenge, which is a little bit more involved. That's why I wanted to warn you about a challenge, something that might take a little bit more time and effort than what you may already realize. And the last one I want to talk about today is what's called a free plus shipping offer. So let's assume that you do have assets. Let's assume you've already written a book. Some people have already written a book, or maybe they want to write a book relatively short, like an ebook kind of thing, right? That they want to give away for free, and they're just going to have them pay the cost of shipping for that, right? You can run that offer, and you can actually run it as an ad. Again, paid strategy. You can run that as an ad. People go in there and they do make a financial contribution to pay for the cost of shipping. Now, you're likely going to lose some money on the cost of what it was for you to incur that cost of that book, but it may be worth, at the end of the day, you may be only spending a couple dollars on that actual copy of that book, and immediately you're going to have the opportunity to not only build your list, but since they're a buyer, because they've actually spent money, more than likely you're going to be able to sell them something else immediately after to self-liquidate. So if you sold them a book, maybe there's some course that you sell that tags on with that, or maybe there's some, whatever, a front-end offer that you sell for $37 that immediately will liquidate, if not make you profitable on top of your list building effort. So that's the key, that's the ultimate, that's the dream, is to be able to run something and provide an offer to be able to recoup your ad spend if you're going to go paid, rather than see you just spending thousands and thousands of dollars to build your email list, but not getting anything back in return, right? So let's recap real quick, because I just threw a lot at you. So if you have your own audience, what are you going to do? You're going to leverage that audience. You're going to make sure your call to action is very clear and concise, right? If it's a lead magnet, awesome. You're going to call that to action. You're going to educate people on that specific topic. You're going to be very clear on it. You don't have to talk about it all the time, but you're going to talk about it 80% of the time, just the content that surrounds that specific lead magnet, and you're going to give people that specific URL. If you don't have an audience at all and you're just starting out, You're going to reach out to people. You're going to collaborate. You're going to run a summit. You're going to do something where you're going to leverage other people's audiences. You're going to go on their podcast or whatever. And you could use that same call to action, that same thing you use for your lead magnet, right? You could use that same one when you're doing your podcast guest circles, right? And at the end of that podcast, you drop that link. People go download it. You leverage someone else's audience. If you're going to go the paid route, it's going to be the exact same thing. You just want to make sure that what you do is have potential ways to recoup your ad spend as quickly as possible, if at all possible, and or if you have assets that can immediately be sold for a lower entry level price, like a free plus shipping offer for a book that you already wrote, or a book that you can write that's an ebook that's 50 to 75 or 100 pages or something that's just a basic introduction to what it is that you do that gives them value. That could be something that now you've got somebody who's a buyer and you can take them through your funnel real quickly and sell something else to recoup that. So you're building your email list for free. The last thing that I didn't mention that I will mention is that quiz funnels are fantastic. If you want to run a basic quiz, that's also a great front-end lead magnet, both for organic, but also for paid traffic. So I know I throw a lot at you. If you have to, go back and watch this video over again. Try to make sure you guys have as much information as you possibly can, but make sure you also download my Ultimate Startup Checklist. It is probably the fastest way to get your startup business off the ground and running, loaded top to bottom. Everything I know in any industry, regardless of industry, about what you need to be doing to get your business started the right way. So grab it. It's in the description below. Make sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for notifications. Drop me a comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if there's another strategy that you tried early on that's working for you. And I will see you guys in the next one.